Hey there, crafty friends. Do you want to learn how easy it is to use the Shimmer Relief Paste on your projects? Then stick around because that is exactly what I'm going to show you today. This is Mindy Eggen in my new series here on the Altenew YouTube channel, Inking It Up with Mindy. You will find me here once a month, so be sure to subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel to catch my latest videos. Now let's go ahead and get started. The main product that I'm going to be using today is the Squiggly Lines Stencil, and this is a great stencil for adding subtle texture to your backgrounds. But before I begin my background, I need to create my focal point so that I know what color to make my background. Off screen, I did a little bit of die cutting and ink blending. This is the Craft a Flower Bearded Iris, which I die cut out of Frosty pink cardstock and frayed leaf cardstock. Now, I know this series is called Inking It Up with Mindy, but I really did want to focus on adding that subtle texture to my background today. So I did all of the ink blending off screen. I will, however, let you know the colors that I used to achieve this amazing result on my bearded iris. So on that frosty pink cardstock, I did some ink blending with a mini blending tool using fuchsia ink, jazzberry ink, and a little bit of deep iris. On the leaves and the stem, I used reindeer moss, again with a mini blending tool. Here I am just going through and layering up my die cuts using the keyhole system, which in this case happens to be an arrow. And there's also numbers that are etched into your cardstock that is provided by the die, so I know what order to place them in to build this gorgeous flower. Now, the reason that I didn't do my background first is because I wait to see what my project or my item looks like with all of the ink blending, because that can change. So here I'm grabbing out my swatch of cardstock, the Altenew cardstock, and I'm just figuring out what color is going to work best for a background. I really wanted it to be kind of bold and dramatic, and I landed on the Andromeda cardstock. So I chose that and trimmed it down to 4¼ by 5½. And then I'm placing it on my sticky mat in my stamp wheel. I'll then take the Squiggly Lines stencil and place it over the top and making sure that the stencil is pushed down onto the sticky mat to hold that in place. I'm going to be using the Shimmer Relief Paste in antique silver along with a palette knife to spread this over the open areas of the stencil. Now, in the beginning of the video, I mentioned how easy it is to use the Shimmer Relief Paste in your projects, and I mean just that. I am taking my palette knife and I'm going to spread this over parts of the stencil. This is what makes it so easy. You do not have to fill up an entire card front if you don't want to. In this case, I am placing it kind of over on the right-hand side of the card front because that is where my flower is going to go. So it can be very scattered. You don't have to fill in every single line, every single detail. You can make it more scattered to give it kind of more of a mixed media look. And this type of stenciling doesn't have to be with this particular stencil. It can be with any stencil just to add a little bit of subtle texture behind your die cut image or a stamped sentiment. Now I will just pick this up off of the sticky mat. I'm going to set it off on the side to dry, and then I'm going to wipe up my sticky mat with a baby wipe and take my stencil over to my sink to wash it off. It is really that easy. While that's drying, I am going to work on a sentiment. I have the One Go solid sentiment strips here. This is a press plate with a coordinating die. A while back when I was creating projects, I did a whole bunch of these sentiments. I still had extras left, so I picked one of those that I want to add to the front of my card, but this one was a little long. So I'm going to use my paper trimmer to trim that down. Now, the black was not as noticeable with my dark background. So I am going to take those strips, add a little bit of tape runner behind them, and place them on a piece of white cardstock. I'm lining them up in the corner and I'm going to try and keep the margin around it fairly even. And then I'll take this back over to my paper trimmer and trim around that so that I have almost a label looking type of sentiment. This is going to help it pop off of my dark background. But because this is also a better press plate, you could also foil it with your glimmer foiling system if you have that. And foiling these sentiments would also really shine off of your card project. Now that my background is dry, I am going to attach it to a side folding card base. To do that, I am using a piece of a double-sided adhesive sheet that's cut just a little bit smaller than my background panel. So I'm going to burnish that down onto the back of my card front and then add this to my side folding card base, making sure that the design is on the side that I need it to be for my floral image. Using the double-sided adhesive sheet is also really helpful because sometimes if you apply too much paste, after it dries, it can be a little warped, so that is going to help flatten everything out. I do want my die cut floral to pop off of the background a little bit, so I want to add dimension to it. And I'm just trimming down some pieces of foam tape using my detail scissors, adding it to the back of the flower, and also trimming down some skinny pieces for the stem. Then I'll remove the backing of the foam tape and I can place that over my stencil design. And I am purposely leaving a little bit overhanging so I can trim that off a little later. For the sentiment, I am going to use one of the brand new foam tapes that came out. So there's two different ones that are both a 1/4 inch wide. The one that I chose is the 1/8 of an inch thickness. So it is a little bit thicker than the other one. And I'm going to just trim out a couple pieces to add behind my sentiment. I love how skinny this foam tape is because then I don't have to trim them down into thin strips with my scissors. It is the perfect size for my skinny sentiments. So again, I'll just remove the backing of that foam tape and I'm going to place these on the front of my card project. I am going to stagger it though. I kind of thought that look went really well with my staggered background, and I'm going to have that just slightly overlapping my stem. Then I can turn my card project over and just trim off any of that excess that's hanging off of the edge. And I think that gives it such a nice and kind of finished look, like my scene is extended somewhere. And literally, this card came together so quick and easy and has that stunning, subtle background. Before you leave, let me know down in the comments if you have gotten your hands on this gorgeous new shimmer paste. And if so, which colors did you pick? Let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks, friends.
Hello there! Did that video just spark your creativity? And do you want more project ideas and inspiration videos too? Well, if you do, please make sure that you subscribe to the Altenew YouTube channel. Also, make sure that you do click that notification bell so you don't miss a video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye bye!